is Joy News Prime.
Welcome to Joy News Prime here on Joy News on Multi TV. Coming up, New Patriotic Party accuses government of deliberately losing the criminal case against businessman Alfred Willome because high-ranking members of the governing NDC are implicated. President Mahama reiterates his promise to conduct a free and fair election come November this year as he interacts with the Scottish Parliament. Upper West Region hosts West African Security Conference on the imminent threat from terrorism in the sub-region.
And coming up in business, Barclays Africa to push for investors with deep understanding of African banking to acquire 62% of holdings from Barclays PLC.
And residents of Volta Region town of Indo-Kopa reject classroom built for the community because they say the contractor did a shoddy job. Business news will come up in the next 30 minutes with entertainment, sport and our interactive segment, Joy News Interactive, following in the second hour of this bulletin, available across Europe on London-based ABN television. Stay tuned. President John Mahama has assured Ghana will stick to the standard of conducting free and fair elections come November when the country goes to the polls. The president made the commitment when he addressed Scottish MPs today. President Mahama earlier observed question time in the Scottish Parliament.
President Mahama, during his interaction, played up the country's democratic credentials.
Ghana has had 6 successive elections since 1992, and this year's election will be no exception in terms of transparency, fairness, and security. The many elections held in several African countries last year sends a clear message that Africa is emerging and building a solid foundation of participatory democracy that will form the basis of guaranteeing a life of dignity and prosperity for our people.
He pointed to reasons for mutually beneficial relations with Scotland, which has a strong oil and gas sector. For President Mahama, such collaboration is key to enhance partnership in new areas of trade and investment.
Our relations have grown over the years, nurtured by strong people-to-people contacts, a dynamic diasporan community, regular high-level visits, and significant economic ties. I'm therefore positive that my visit to Scotland could further strengthen these relations and see the exploration of even new areas of trade and investment between us. This is a country that has over the years led the world in heavy industries such as steel, shipbuilding, coal mining, and also in oil and gas. Ghana has, under my administration, been on a quest to diversify the base of our economy. This is aimed at transforming us from a primary commodity exporter and import-dependent economy into an export-led, value-added one. In this journey of transformation, Scotland provides us with a good opportunity for collaboration in developing our manufacturing sector.
He also touched on the need to control migration of Africa's youth through the expansion of the continent's industrial and manufacturing base.
A ticking youth bulge requires that we speed up the process of economic growth in order that we can provide decent jobs for the large number of young people graduating from our schools every year. Accelerated economic growth, expansion of manufacturing and agriculture will guarantee jobs and staunch the risky flow of young Africans across the Mediterranean in search of new opportunities in Europe.
Members of Parliament are demanding immediate withdrawal of a ban imposed on the export of cashew products. Members say the directive is illegal and a disincentive for the industry. Deputy Majority Chief Ibrahim Ahmed, who read an urgent statement on the issue, wants the Trade Minister hauled before Parliament to answer questions on the directive.
The ban, according to a statement by the Trade Ministry, will last until June this year. According to the ministry, all cashew nuts brought to the ports or borders of Ghana for export between 31st March and 31st May 2016 shall be confiscated to the state. The directive, according to the ministry, aims at feeding local industries with cashew products. It indicates that about 95% of Ghana's total production of cashew nuts, estimated at 68,000 metric tons in its raw form, is sent to overseas for processing, denying local industry the raw materials. This situation, according to the statement, is stifling the ministry's objective of promoting value addition under the National Export Development Program and further threatens the survival of the local industry. But speaking to the issue, the Majority Chief Whip, Ahmed Ibrahim, who is also the MP for Banda in the Bono-Afo region, said farmers in that region are badly affected by the directive.
The Ministry of Trade and Industry, with oversight responsibilities for trade regulations and controls, under the Import and Export Law Act 503, Section 13 of 1995, as amended in 2000, has issued the following administrative directives on the purchase and export of raw cashew nuts. Henceforth, all traders and processors are to note that they are allowed to purchase raw cashew nuts during the main harvesting season from January to June. But export of raw cashew nuts is permitted only after 31st May onwards.
He wants the directive suspended immediately. MPs from the Bono-Afo region who contributed to the statement described the directive as insensitive.
We are of the view that the farmers are also in business for profit. And if we are to ensure the survival of the cashew production in Ghana, we should ensure that the farm gate is also protected. And that is one of the reasons why we think we should rather protect the thousands of farmers who are, if we are even thinking about unemployment, then I think it would be rather prudent for us to ensure that the farmers who are in their thousands are rather protected and given all the necessary protection, rather than the 14 companies who are in there. If the 14 companies would like to, more or less, we are in a competitive world. Nothing stops them from upping their prices and buying at the competitive price that other companies are buying. I think it's rather a little bit unfair for our farmers to be made to suffer for something that they do not have any hand in. But Mr. Speaker, is extremely surprising, very, very surprising that he in leadership will make a statement to attack a minister of state of the majority. This should not be encouraged. This is a sign of pure confusion on their side.
The number of people dying from tuberculosis keeps increasing each year. It is estimated at least 10,000 people die from the disease in Ghana annually, a situation health experts blame on late reporting and detection.
Tuberculosis is a communicable disease caused by a bacterium which mostly attacks the lungs and other organs of the body. It is transmitted from a sick patient to another through coughing, singing and sneezing, and its major symptoms are coughs, which last for more than 2 weeks, loss of weight, tiredness, night sweats and chest pain. Though the Ghana Health Service says screening and treatment of tuberculosis is free at both private and public health facilities, several people do not check their status until it becomes critical. 76,000 of these cases are recorded annually, a situation the Health Service describes as alarming.
And based on the transmission rate, every year we are adding on about 44,000 new cases. So we have a real big problem with TB in Ghana. Based on the estimates, we also realize that almost about 10,000 people die of TB annually in Ghana. So it is a real big problem for us in Ghana. We really need to do something about it. Stigma in Ghana is a real big issue. Anybody who is diagnosed with TB actually gets shunned by their family. It is such a big problem. Rather than supporting them to go through treatment and to be cured, they rather cast them away, banish them, don't want to get associated with them, forgetting that when the person wasn't diagnosed, they were doing everything fine with them. If the person was going to transmit the disease to them, they would have infected them all the same. Okay, so we really need to change our mindset about the disease in Ghana.
At the moment, not all health facilities in Ghana can treat TB cases. The National Tuberculosis Control Program says it is equipping these facilities to deal with the increasing number of cases.
As at now, we have just about 600 health facilities that are able to do TB, that are providing TB services actively. We are looking at increasing the numbers. We are looking at decentralizing even more. Where they don't have the diagnostic services, we allow them to link with a higher level that has diagnostic services, so they can collect sputum samples and send it to these facilities, and the test can be done and the results sent to them.
So we're building the capacity of those who do not have what it takes to do the screening.
It depends on the availability of health staff at these levels. Some facilities have limited capacity of health staff. They may be only clinical care providers. These people, we educate them to know how to suspect TB. And then for the laboratories, where they have laboratories, we also routinely train the laboratory staff to know how to do TB diagnosis.
Addressing participants at the monthly health promotion program organized by the Ghana Health Service, stakeholders from the National Tuberculosis Society called on government and other developmental partners to support the fight against the spread of tuberculosis.
In another development, the Deputy Minister of Health, Dr. Victor Bampo, has disclosed that the number of meningitis cases appears to be on the decline. 3 strains of meningitis have claimed close to 80 lives in 9 regions of the country, with a pneumococcal strain alone infecting over 100 people. The Ministry of Health is currently undertaking a vaccination program in the Upper West region and parts of Brong-Ahafo to deal with the different strains. In an interview with Joy News, Dr. Bampo disclosed that no new case has been reported in the last 10 days.
We are getting good news now. There are 2 groups. One is in the Brong-Ahafo region and one is in Upper West. In Upper West, they went to do reactive vaccination, where they took more than 200,000 vaccines to vaccinate in 3 districts, Jirapa, Nadoli and Nandom. So they are just about rounding up the vaccination. It went very, very well. It was supposed to be they were supposed to be vaccinating children and people between the ages of 2 and 29, but it was oversubscribed. They've got a lot of people. By this evening, we'll have the final numbers of the people who were vaccinated, but that's a good sign. As well, for about 10 days, they've not had any new cases of meningitis, so it's looking quite good. In Brong-Ahafo, we have another team there, where they are saying that in Wenchi, in Kuranza South, and one of the other districts where they had a lot of cases, for the past 10 days there have been no cases. German North was one of the areas where they had a lot of cases as well. They've also not had any case in the past 10 days.
So it appears gradually we are winning the fight.
It appears that gradually things are looking up. It's too early to draw conclusions, but certainly things are going in the right direction. In Techiman Municipal, I think they had 3 cases a week ago or so, but the cases are stable, they are in hospital. So the cases have come down significantly, and it looks like gradually the meningitis may be drawing to an end.
So are the figures, so 76, is that, do we still have that figure, or it has increased a bit?
Well, the last figure we had was 77 confirmed meningitis deaths. Like I said, they are doing a tabulation of the final figures, and then we will know. It might change slightly, but whatever it is, we are not having an increase in the cases that we were having a few weeks ago.
Okay, just a little clarification. Sometimes we find out that the figures seem to be going up, the number of deaths, and then suddenly we realize that it has come down again. What is accounting for some of these changes we are seeing in the figures?
And the simple reason is that, you know, doctors work with clinical diagnosis, which is then confirmed by the laboratory. So if I'm in a consulting room and I have a case in a district like German North, where meningitis has become very prevalent, and I think that it is malaria and I check and it's not malaria, I would then write maybe it is malaria to rule out meningitis. So and you do the malaria test, it's not malaria, the next thing you say is that clinically it may be meningitis. So they start treating for meningitis. When they take to the lab, the sample from the patient to the lab, they will check. So in that first instance, it will be added to the number of meningitis cases. When they do a lab test, it may be something else, gastroenteritis, something else, maybe not meningitis. Then they have to take that name off the list because it's actually not meningitis.
You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break. We'll be back with more stories on Go Away. The New Patriotic Party is accusing government of deliberately losing the controversial 51.2 million cedi judgment debt case against businessman Alfred Agbasi Woyome because it has never been interested in jailing him in the first place. According to the party, all indications show high-ranking members of the governing NDC were in on the deal to defraud the state of the amount paid to the party financier. At a news conference in Accra to react to the exoneration of Mr. Woyome by an appeals court, Communications Director of the NPP, Nana Komia, said the collusion between top members of the NDC and public servants has crippled the state's efforts to retrieve the 51 million cedis paid him.
Now, the New Patriotic Party, like a vast number of Ghanaians, we are not surprised at this turn of events regarding the criminal prosecution of Mr. Woyome over the NDC government's payment to him of the colossal amount of 51.8 million Ghana cedis in 2010. At that time, the money was worth $35 million. Now, the twists and turns that led to Mr. Woyome being paid the 51.8 million cedis clearly showed a deliberate pattern of high-ranking NDC officials aided by highly placed public servants to collude, connive, and conspire with people who are NDC connected to steal or misappropriate taxpayers' monies. Now, the elements of this classic plot of deliberate connivance and collusion are all present in the Woyome payout. In this particular case, the president at the time, President Mills, that's what we are told in a Yoko report, that President Mills ordered that no monies should be paid to Mr. Woyome and that the ministers should go to court to defend the states. When they went to court, the High Court in September 2010 also ordered that only 1/3 of the monies should be paid to Mr. Woyome, pending the determination of the case.
The NPP is also raising issues with the failure of government to release reports for the misappropriation of funds for the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority and the Ghana Youth Employment and Entrepreneurial Development Agency.
Not a peso has been retrieved from Waterville, from Isofoton, from SADA. Today, 17th March 2016. Not to talk of the deadline given by the president of December 2013. The president gave a definite order that all the monies should be refunded, gave order to the Minister for Justice, the Yoko, the Minister for Finance, the Ministry of Youth and Sports to work with Yoko to retrieve the monies from individuals, from companies in SADA, in JIDA, in Waterville, in Isofoton, by December 31st, 2013. As we speak, zilch has been retrieved. One key member of the JIDA investigation team, in obvious disappointment, recently remarked, and I quote him, "We are being robbed. We are seriously being robbed. And I think we need to be more radical about the issue of corruption. We brought all our expertise to bear on this investigation, but it took forever to get government to say we are going to act and deal with the people and issues in our reports. This is a member of the GIDA investigation team looking at the events that happened after they had done the hard work of investigating GIDA and submitted a report to you. Remember when they submitted the report, about 4 months there was no action from government? And this was the frustration of one of the members of the investigation team. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these issues are not just perception. These are real issues of misappropriation of taxpayers' monies through connivance and collusion, through a create, loot, and share. And these are issues that show the state of the fight against corruption in Ghana today.
Elsewhere, Vice Presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has been addressing students of the whole Polytechnic. Joy News' Volta region correspondent Mauli Yevu has been monitoring events and joins us live with details. Good evening to you, Mauli. What are some of the key issues that Dr. Bawumia has been raising?
Well, some of the key issues that we have been talking about have to do with the taxes and what the government of Nana Akufo-Addo, if voted into power, would be doing differently from what the current government is doing in terms of taxes. And according to him, we are going to build an economy that will be business and people friendly. And this will be characterized by reduction in corporate taxes, supporting the real estate industry, and abolishing all import duties for raw materials and business, equipment for businesses. And so that's one particular area. He's also talking about education and laying emphasis on the side of education is very important, for which reason the NPP will be restoring the teacher trainee and the nurses trainee allowances. And then he also talked about book and research allowances for lecturers that will be fully restored for lecturers in various universities, polytechnics, and all other institutions. That teachers and lecturers have been benefiting from book and research allowances because he has been a teacher himself, and the Nana Akufo-Addo himself understand the essence of some of these things. He also talked extensively about the country's debt stock, which the president reacted to because he mentioned specific figures of $37 billion for which the president reacted. And for him, the $37 billion can only be impossible if you cannot do the mathematics. So perhaps for him, he's standing by the fact that the economy, the debt stock of the economy is $37 billion. So these are some of the major areas, including unemployment and the fact that his government, the government of a New Patriotic Party voted into power, will be ensuring that there are jobs for the youth. And those are some of the issues that Dr. Bawumia has been talking about.
All right.
At JCR of Open Sector.
Thank you very much, Mauli Yevu, bringing us up to speed on some of the issues that Dr. Bawumia is the vice presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party has been saying in Ho. The Upper West Regional Minister, Alhaji Amidu Suleiman, has asked his counterparts in West Africa to be committed to efforts aimed at dealing with terrorism in the sub-region. His comment comes as he meets with other security personnel and their counterparts in Burkina Faso following attacks on that country and Côte d'Ivoire. Rafiq Salam reports.
The meeting brought together members of the Upper West Regional Security Council and security chiefs from 2 neighboring provinces from Burkina Faso. The purpose of the meeting is to discuss cross-border security issues of common interest for the regions and to proffer effective ways of dealing with them. It is also aimed at seeking collaboration at different levels to deal with potential security threats to the regions in order to keep their people safe from all forms of insecurity, especially terrorist attacks. In an opening remark, Upper West Regional Minister Amin Amidu Suleimani called for collaborative efforts between security chiefs to share more intelligence for the mutual benefit of the two countries.
Our regions share not only common borders, but also common security issues which pose a danger to lives and properties in our respective regions. Crimes such as armed robbery, cattle rustling, and smuggling of goods are commonly committed along our border towns and villages. These crimes are now the threat of terrorist attacks, calls for bold concerted action and collaboration between our security agencies. Our security agencies need to share intelligence information to help keep us safe from all forms of security threats.
The regional minister, who also doubles as the chairman of the Upper West Regional Security Council, condemned the terror attacks on Burkina Faso and Ivory Coast.
We also wish to condemn the terrorist attacks in Burkina Faso earlier this year and the very recent one in Côte d'Ivoire, which resulted in the loss of human lives and properties. These attacks on our neighbors are regrettable, and we stand with them in these trying times. This gathering here is a clear demonstration of our individual and collective commitment to maintain peace and security in our respective regions.
Of the Burkinabe delegation and governor of the Southwest Province of Burkina Faso, Diarra Ambrose S. Amadou, expressed joy over the meeting, saying it will help clamp down on the activities of criminals plying their illegal trade between the two countries.
Because I'm sure that if we all wear Ghanaian clothes and we say to someone to come and say who is Ghanaian and who come from Burkina Faso, it's not evident that we will know who is Ghanaian or Burkinabe. So we all are the same persons. If one hand can do very good work, I'm sure that many hands can make more. As it says that, as the philosophers are concerned, it says that nothing is great or small except by comparison. So we will meet our forces, and I'm sure that the security will go up.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam. Wa.
Right, up next we bring you business news. Please don't go away. Emmanuel Abaji is here with business. Quite a bit of a tongue twister, actually.
I know. Yeah. It's a compound name, and it's quite a...
Emmanuel Abaji.
Yeah, exactly.
Emmanuel Abaji.
With a hyphen.
Yeah.
Between Abaji and Riafe.
How far with the car search?
Well,
still waiting for it to drop from
exactly. Still
heaven like
serious,
manna.
Exactly. I mean, I'm still waiting, and I believe in miracles. I believe in prayers.
I haven't seen cars dropping from heaven like manna before.
It's with God sent.
If they drop like that, they're going to crash on the earth, and you know what?
I'm Emmanuel, and Emmanuel is equivalent to Jesus. So everything is possible. Don't underrate miracles at all.
Let's do business now.
Of course, yes.
Stop talking about miracles.
Yes, I know. Well, tonight, the main story is that, the announcement by Barclays PLC of its offloading of some of its shares in Africa has brought about some, controversy, especially with workers not knowing what is going to happen to them and customers alike.
Uncertainty.
And
exactly. This is despite all that the management has been saying, because management has actually been putting out public service announcements, putting out advertisements, trying to reassure customers and everybody else that
nothing is going to happen to them. Yes, we still have an official of the Barclays PLC who came down from London to give further assurance that, hey, nothing is going to happen to the bank. And more so, especially when the bank is looking for a partner with strong African, grounds.
Let's hear what he has to say.
Exactly, okay. All right, so time for business. Barclays Africa says it will be pushing its parent company to settle on an investor with a deeper understanding of the African banking business. Barclays UK last month announced its decision to reduce its majority stake in the African business. This was to help the bank raise additional capital as part of a new regulatory requirement in the UK. It is currently looking for an investor to take part of its 62% holding in Barclays Africa. Chief Executive in charge of retail business banking, Craig Bond, tells Joy Business they will not compromise on this requirement.
PLC has got to a situation where it needs to raise capital, and its most successful division, its fastest growing division, is Barclays Africa. And so for them to sell a piece of America, very unlikely, because it's not growing. For them to sell a piece of the UK, it's their core. And so I think what has happened is that that PLC have said, when we look at all of our assets, if we can sell down our shareholding in Africa and release capital, that'll be good. That'll be great for the group as a whole. We've only just started thinking about potential shareholders that could buy some of the Barclays PLC shares. But certainly our intent would be to get a very good blend of new shareholders to buy the Barclays shares that think Africa, understand Africa, and have a long view of Africa. Africa is going to be here forever. Africa is going to prosper. It's going to have its economic upturns and downturns. It's going to have its political upturns and downturns. We're looking for shareholders to buy out those shares that understand that and have a long-term view about African prosperity. Someone that understands that you need banks to grow economies, and that investing in a bank like this can play a big role in the African economic growth of the future, can create millions of jobs, can really be a positive force for change. And so, without sounding overly excited, we think this is an incredible opportunity for this group.
Former Chief Executive of Barclays UK, Bob Diamond, has already expressed interest in taking part of the Barclays shares upsale. In a related development, Ghana has been selected to host the new branch banking model and innovation hub for Barclays Bank in Africa. It will guide a new wave of branch refurbishment in the region. Craig Bond has been explaining this to Joy Business.
We've set up an innovation hub in Accra. We've brought some of the finest IT minds from across the world. So we've got, based in Ghana, Americans, French, Czechoslovakian, and even some strong African IT skills. And we've set them up in Accra to try and develop the next wave of cutting-edge thinking around financial technology. And you may ask us, why have we done that in Ghana? We specifically chose Ghana because it is one of Africa's preeminent trading cultures. It has a fantastic culture of innovation and entrepreneurship, and we just think it's a really good place to be. We're feeling very optimistic about the country. We know many markets in Africa are going through difficult times. We have a very strong feeling that Ghana is going to be one of the winners in the economic future of Africa.
Now, the Minerals Commission has begun a process to enhance the image of small-scale mining for the benefit of the economy. The participatory reform program is to ensure a paradigm shift in small-scale mining as a venture driven by poverty to a business-oriented one. The program will engage all sector players under the auspices of UK-based International for Environment and Development's ASM Dialogue Program. Speaking to Joy Business, Chief Executive of the Minerals Commission, Dr. Tony Obin, said the initiative should ultimately create more jobs and wealth in the country.
The shift was for artisanal and small-scale mining to shift from being an activity that creates environmental problems, an activity that is done in an unsecure and insecure way, activity that really makes women always get the worst out of it, an activity that sort of see illegality more than the application of best practices. So we think that that is possible. We think we should be able to shift the way small-scale or artisanal mining is done, the way we think about artisanal small-scale mining from a negative point to a more positive point. We must not make artisanal mining only an life-aching activity, only a poverty-driven activity. We must make artisanal and small-scale mining an income-generating activity, a wealth creation activity, a mine, that people who work there are mine workers and not just galamsey people. People must see themselves as mine workers who get ready to go to their mines, except that their mines are not like Goldfields or Anglo-Gold Ashanti. They are small mines. So we need to do that. We need to ensure that we move from a situation where people go and they are not sure whether they are coming back the following day because their grounds will cave in because they don't have the safety standard. They should be able to work well guided by safety standards and regulation. So this basically why this learning and leadership group, sort of thought we would provide that leadership for this to happen.
Well, some players in the cashew industry are threatening to embark on a demonstration in protest against the new directive for all traders and processors not to purchase raw cashew nuts from January to June. Now, the Minister of Trade and Industry, Dr. Ekos Gabra, who issued the directive, also noted any raw cashew nuts brought to the ports or borders of Ghana for export between the 31st of March and 31st of May shall be confiscated to the state. This, according to him, is to ensure more value addition to the produce before export. But the chairman of Cashew Buyers Association in the Brahafo region, Momoni Isa, tells Joy Business they would go to any extent to resist this directive.
nuanom kuafo ene ye traders no ene ye agents for no mu ye adwuma ene ye share ye maintain ye person ye demonstration de kire aban especially.
We had a meeting with our counterpart to organize a demonstration against the government, especially the trade minister. If he doesn't address our grievances, we'll also not let him be, because we and exporters have invested so much money into the system only to be told in the middle of the season that a ban has been imposed on us. It's completely unacceptable considering the time this came up. They should have informed us earlier.
This is only two processors companies. Yes, you can have better than a Saka. I buy him so baby, and I sent to any December, and I saw the boy a money because you can't free a man on Emma.
So we're still in business, and it's now time to go to the stock market. Once again, John Kojuamakun has joined me to give us updates on the stock market. John, good evening.
Good evening, Emmanuel. The market today, as we always call as we call it sometimes, has been very, very bearish, meaning that activity levels actually went to the disadvantage of investors. Almost all the equities on the market lost money today. So today, the total volume of about 59,388 traded, as against yesterday's 111. So you can actually tell the difference. It actually went down at a total value of 144,691. That's quite not significant. But then, so the market cap still is coming down. Now it's ranged almost about 54,866. Almost about 3-5% this particular year is actually lost to it. So now you can tell composite index keeps declining by the day. Now it actually stands around 3.51%. And those who are investing in the financial equities are losing about 4.58% as we speak year on year. And this is where the equities that traded. We had ETI, that's EcoBank Transnational Incorporated, which is the parent company of EcoBank, losing 2 pesos to their investors' capital. Societe Generale also lost 2 pesos to it. And then Goya lost 1 peso to the investors. So that's how the market looked like. But the fortunate part is that this is the time you can actually enter the market and probably buy 1 or 2 shares at a cheaper price so you can sell high. But then crude oil is actually recorded $41 per barrel as we speak. This is about 5 minutes numbers I'm giving, 5 minutes ago numbers. So even at 36, Ghana was thinking of actually increasing, or we increased fuel prices here. Now it is 41 confirmed. And then gold also lost $1.70 to close around 1,257. And then cocoa gained $66 to close at 3,106. So that's basically how it is. And then still the Ghana cedi is holding its own against the United States dollar when it comes to the currencies, and but still losing to the British pound, the euro, and then the Chinese one. So for 59 pesos, you get yourself 1 Chinese one. And then with 3 Ghana cedi, 85 pesos, you get yourself 1 United States dollar. So that's basically how the market has performed tonight.
All right, so that's it for business tonight. That was John Kojuamakun with the stock market. And my name is Emmanuel Apuaji. Good evening.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. And government is being urged to make provision to sustain a nutrition enhancement initiative that has shown remarkable promise amongst its beneficiaries in the 3 regions in the north. Started in 2012 by the United States government and the Obama administration, Feed the Future aims to address global hunger and food insecurity with special emphasis on the sub-Saharan Africa. At a conference on work done so far in the 3 regions, officials of USAID revealed there has been significant improvement in the nutritional needs of beneficiaries. Deputy Office Director in charge of Agriculture, Brian Conkling, attributed the improvement to women empowerment, creating access to financing, and improving assistance for agriculture. He, however, warns failure of government to continue with interventions after the project ends in 2018 will cripple the gains made.
We can come in with a robust economic development program. We can help improve the incomes of farmers. We can help improve productivity with better quality seeds, with better access to markets. But if it isn't integrated with efforts in education and in healthcare, we're not going to get to those transformational changes. And I think what it says to us is that these efforts are complex, and it takes multiple focuses from different ministries, from different organizations to really look at this holistically and realize that it's about education, it's about healthcare, it's about family size, and it's about economic opportunity. And any one of those things just by themselves isn't going to do the trick. It needs that concentration of resources.
Meanwhile, head of data processing at the Ghana Statistical Service, Barima Osei Asare, explains how the gap in nutritional needs was bridged.
What we do is to look at the adult equivalent scale. That means that we look at with any adult, a male adult, he requires 2,900 calories per day for his growth. And we're using that. It's been scaled down with women having their own amount of calories that they need, with children to having an amount of calories that they need. And this helps us in calculating our per capita, because each person, depending upon whether the person is an adult male, adult female, male child, or female child, needs a particular amount of calories to grow.
So are we saying then that residents in the northern region, the 3 northern regions, do not have these calories that you're talking about?
Not really, but the amount of money the person needs to get these calories is the minimum. And then we also look at the ability for the person to be able to purchase basic needs. We look at food, we look at clothing, not expensive, but basic clothing. And then daily needs as maybe water, electricity usage, educational needs, health needs.
So has the interventions by USAID and other donor groups helped these families improve upon their per capita income, to be able to improve upon the calories to get to the maximum that you require?
From the survey results, we can see that there's been improvement.
Can we ever bridge the gap? Because I'm sure you're comparing with the South.
I hope we can. I hope we can. The only thing is that we need to be consistent with the interventions. We take and then the individuals there should also try and help themselves to get out of the poverty.
The Attorney General's Department has issued a stern warning to the International Criminal Court to stop selectively prosecuting African leaders. Speaking at the first International Forum on the ICC at Gimpa here in Accra, Deputy Attorney General Dominic Ayene tasked the Chief Prosecutor to take the concerns of bias against Africans serious, even if it is based on a perception. Joining us, Raymond Aqua has the rest of the story.
The International Criminal Court was established on July 17, 1988, when 120 states adopted the Rome Statute, the legal basis for establishing the permanent court. Over the years, the court has received over 9,000 complaints about alleged crimes from 139 countries. However, it has indicted 36 Africans in 8 countries. On October 1, 2013, the African Union AU threatened to withdraw after the Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta was indicted by the court for the riots that flared up after disputed elections at the end of 2007, which left hundreds dead. The Deputy Attorney General, Minister of Justice, advised the Chief Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, ICC, Fatou Bensouda, to end the court's selective prosecution of black African leaders. According to Dr. Ine, the act of targeting Africans in an attempt to seek justice goes against the standards permitted under any constitutional justice system. It calls for fairness in the prosecution of offenders. He added that there are equally good cases of injustice and mass murder perpetrated in other parts of the world, but the court has failed to pursue them.
The ball is in her court, literally, to also address issues around the perception, and some would dare say the reality of selective prosecution. We are here today because of the fact that there is a widely held belief that the court is selectively targeting Africans for prosecution. And you would agree with me, wouldn't you, that selective prosecution is unacceptable as a norm of constitutional justice. Therefore, it is incumbent on the court to make good faith efforts to ensure fairness in the exercise of prosecutorial discretion. And I believe, Madam Prosecutor, that the perception of bias against Africa in the selection of cases to investigate and prosecute has arisen substantially as a result of the non-pursuit of cases elsewhere in the world, which, by any standards of criminal justice, ought to have been investigated and prosecuted.
But in a sharp rebuttal, the Chief Prosecutor of the ICC, Fatou Bensouda, dismissed the claims, insisting most of the African cases she is handling have been referred to her by the states involved.
Just ask yourself one question. How did all these cases come to the ICC? That's a simple question to ask. How come? Yes. How come they're before the ICC? They're before the ICC, and I always say because the confidence that African states have to refer situations to the ICC. Of course, they cannot choose this case or choose that case, because that then goes to our independence. But if you refer a situation to the ICC, we have the obligation, as long as also all the parameters are met, we have the obligation to independently investigate and also to bring evidence, concrete evidence, before the judges. If you don't do, the judges will throw your case out.
Reporting for Joy News, Raymond Aqua.
Up next, we bring you international news. All right, so what's coming up on Joy News Interactive? Ifwakwa Harrison is here to tell us.
Hello, Israel. Good
Gold
evening.
Standard smile. I haven't forgotten that.
You haven't forgotten that one, eh?
No.
Okay, let me tell you what's coming up. Now, is it a case of supernatural snake invasion or reptiles seeking refuge? We'll share the bizarre story of a snake intrusion in a town in the Ashanti region, 3 towns actually. Now, former President Jerry John Rawlings has sparked the conversation about the death penalty. He believes the license to kill murderers should be taken out of the head of state's hands.
Do that, and we have moved on from there. Because someone of authority has said it, I don't believe that we should go back. It probably worked in his time, but we are operating under a new rule now.
We'll have more on that. And do you have a Ghanaian passport? Was it easy to get?
People are taking money. They have been collecting money from people, a huge amount, to do the passport, and those people are getting their own passport.
40 minutes. I'll ask Israel then too how easy it was for him to get his own passport. Israel.
Okay. I'll tell you all about that. So if you'd want to hear my experience, well, I'll share that with you when we come back after the break. Plus, we have entertainment and sports all coming up. Stay tuned. Time now for a recap of our top stories on Joy News Prime. The New Patriotic Party is accusing government of deliberately losing the criminal case against businessman Alfred Boyome because high-ranking members of the governing NDC are implicated. President Mahama has reiterated his promise to conduct a free and fair election come November this year. as he interacts with the Scottish Parliament. Upper West Region hosts West African Security Conference on the imminent threat from terrorism in the sub-region. In business, Barclays Africa is to push for an investor with deep understanding of African banking to acquire 62% of its holdings from Barclays UK. Now, residents of a town in the Akachi North District of the Volta region have rejected a 3-unit classroom block constructed for them because they say they cannot trust the quality of work done by the contractor. The residents of Indo Copper made it clear to the district chief executive that the contractor did a shoddy job and will be endangering the lives of their wards if they allowed them to occupy those classrooms.
The Copper Basic School is one of the few schools that lack infrastructure in the Akachi South District. The school has only 3 classrooms, the rest hold classes under trees. To bridge the gap, the district assembly decided to construct a 3-unit classroom block for the school and contracted Vidforce Company Limited to do the work. After completing works on the structure within 3 months, which costed about 110,000 Ghana cedis, residents of Nodou Copper are accusing the contractor of not using quality materials for the project. They stated if not for their vigilance, the contractor would have used low-quality wood to roof the building. Some portions of the floor started cracking and wearing off few weeks after the contractor claimed to have finished working on the project. The apron surrounding the building has also developed cracks separating from the main building, while some portions of the structure is also cracking. The residents also stated that the woods used for the windows and doors are not of the right quality and believe the wood would decay within the shortest possible time. According to the residents, their refusal to accept the classroom block is to protect the lives of their children. Peter Dosese is the assembly member for the area.
Doors and windows in this classroom is not good. When contractor came asking the engineer, we invite the contractor to do that windows and doors. If it's accepted well, then we hand over the committee.
In the veranda, and then it started cracking. All the windows and the doors are not correct. So we want the contractor to come and finish the work. We cannot accept it if the work is not correct.
That's notwithstanding, the DCE, James Kuno, has promised to bring the contractor back to site to make sure he corrects the defects in the building before the pupils are allowed to use the classroom. He added that until the contractor comes back to site to rectify the defects, the assembly will hold on his outstanding balance for the project. James Gunu also reprimanded the assembly engineer for not doing effective supervision, which had resulted in the defects in the building.
Actually, the community have complained bitterly about quality of work done by the contractor over here. And I agree with them, because most of the things, you need not to be a mason or an engineer to be able to see that this work is not of high quality. And I have seen it myself. And I'm calling on the contractor to come and rectify those defects. And I've also called on my engineers to make sure that those things are rectified. There is an outstanding balance which we are withholding the office for us to be sure that everything is done correctly before his money is given to him.
In a related development, the Akachi North District had been allocated 350 dual desks by the Ghana Education Service, 50 tables and chairs for teachers in the district. The DC, James Gunu, also presented 50 bags of cement to Agomo Agado community towards the construction of a teacher's bungalow. Fred Kwame Asare filed this report.
Over 3 million bags of fertilizer are set to be distributed to cocoa farmers across the country for the next crop season. The Cocoa Health and Extension Division of the Ghana Cocoa Board, however, says only registered farmers will benefit. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
We believe that we will have the granular well over 2 million bags, and then the foliar well over 1.6 million liters. And this, given the area we have under cocoa across the various regions, it will be more than enough for qualified farms. All farmers qualify, but the farmers also qualify.
The move forms part of government's effort to assist cocoa farmers to increase yield. Some farmers have over the years complained they are denied a share of the fertilizer from government. Executive Director of Cocoa Health and Extension Division, Dr. Francis Ban, assures of adequate supply of the commodity this time round.
There's an increase in farmer interest, to have their farms fertilized, because they've seen the relationship between fertilizer application and output. The weather has not been very good. It's not been raining, but farms that were fertilized, you still see that there's flowers, there are young pods, we call them cherels, and the pod load is very good. So fertilizer improves the yield and all the tree characteristics. So that is why farmers are eager to have the fertilizers. But we have to make sure that the fertilizer is being applied efficiently. It's going to farms that will respond. It's not going to overage farms. It's not going to disease farms.
Dr. Francis Ban also dismissed claims by some scientists the mass spraying exercise is killing more beneficial insects than targeted.
Before any chemical is approved for use in cocoa, it goes screening. Part of the screening is the effect of the chemical on the natural enemies in the environment, beneficial insects. If any candidate chemical is seen to be destroying pollinators, it will not be approved in the first place. You see, so all the chemicals, all the insecticides that we are using, they've gone through screening at Craig before they are approved. Part of the screening involves assessment whether they have negative effects on pollinators, natural enemies, and the other, earthworms and all the rest. Beneficial insects, that's what we call them, beneficial insects and organisms. So that cannot be the case. And besides that, when a chemical is approved, it's not a permanent approval. Every year there's a re-evaluation. A team from the entomology department go to the field and assess whether the chemical that they approve is still as it is or is changing.
Many cocoa farmers in the country are recording low production despite huge investment in the sector. Meanwhile, the Young Cocoa Farmers Association is urging members to explore animal rearing alongside crop farming for extra income.
Therefore, we want to integrate these animals rearing. We know that now the land has been occupied by cocoa. I mean, there is no space for them to do other crops. But when you want to go into animals farming, under the cocoa trees, you can establish your pig farm there, you can establish your grass cutter farm, you can establish your rabbit farm. And that is another income or extra income. If there is no cocoa, you can lay hand on one of your animals, you sell and you can manage home up to the time that the cocoa season arrive again, and then you'll be comfortable with life.
About 500 cocoa farmers have undergone training in livestock keeping to promote such venture. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin's report.
Dr. Zaneto Rawlings, who is battling a challenge of eligibility as the NDC's Klote-Korle constituency candidate in court, is not letting the dispute frustrate her quest to go to Parliament. The former president's daughter on Thursday reached out to traders at the Tamalore station here in Accra to engage with them and offer them some training. It emerged at the event that the malfunction of lights at the terminal has made the place very unsafe for the traders.
At a training session on food safety and personal hygiene organized by the NDC parliamentary candidate for Klote-Korle constituency, the traders were taken through basic tips in managing foodstuff and other consumables to avoid contamination. The traders were targeted for the key role they play in the food supply chain. Dr. Zaneto Rawlings and her team also gave some hawkers lessons in sanitation management and control of pets. The organizer of the Tema Station Market Association, Akakpo Stephen, in an interview with Joy News said the street lights at the lorry park have not been working for a while, creating fear among the many headquarters and homeless people who sleep at the terminal. He was also unhappy that politicians come and campaign at the terminal and make promises but do little to fulfill them.
politicians no ba ope seat na to me beka ne omo pa kire yen edada yen ye to aba no wi a na san they say ye dwadi for obi obeba bia ye ne no e na eko but ye see as na to no ye de akomom ene e bibia na de nachi.
This big station, we don't have street lights, and filth is all around us here at the lorry station. We have to sometimes pay waste collectors ourselves before it is cleared. We know the assembly won't help us if we call on them. She should not turn back on us when she wins the election.
If you bola crowd, yeah, what market here, Tomadiano, yeah, they, you tia bolaka, and Sandia Sabola Maya.
Okay. Well, the 2012 vice presidential candidate of the Progressive People's Party, Eva Loku, says she's certain to win the Klotikoli seat. Speaking on the polls earlier on Thursday, Ms. Loku revealed that the biggest problem of the constituents in that area is poverty, which has led to a myriad of problems, including teenage pregnancy and high school dropout rate. She's, however, not perturbed about the so-called popular names that are contesting the same seat on the ticket of other parties.
It is a cycle, and you know why? One, there's no schooling. Two, mothers and fathers are too busy, or it's a single home and the mother is bringing in the money, so they don't have time to look after the girls and they're in the house. So it's easy to just tell them something. If there's poverty, 1 cedi is enough to entice somebody, unfortunately. So we will deal with that. This is why I'm saying that if you give them something to do, you can come with your 1 cedi. They won't take it, because they know they can get more than 1 cedi on a continuous basis. I think there's this famous saying that teach a person to fish, and forever they will be okay. But give them fish, and they'll always be hungry and come for more. So you can't finish it, which is what has been going on for several years. Especially in election years, people dish out things, and everybody gets excited, then they vote. After the voting, everybody keeps quiet, and you can't see them.
And it's nice you come
development does not happen.
It's nice you come to the point of what happens in election years, because you're contesting for this seat. What's the guarantee that you can win it? Especially when in this constituency, people look at what can I get for myself before I stake my claim for the votes.
Well, that's why mentoring, coaching, counseling, awareness raising is part of our portfolio.
Does that win elections?
It will. Nobody has tried it. We are doing it, and we're going to continue, because I think the model
that works already, where people are able to get the votes by giving them what they want.
It doesn't work. That's how why Ghana is in the state that it's in today. Because the point is, if you are doing development, why is poverty not going down? Why is unemployment not going down? People come, they dish out these things, and after elections, it's finished. You can't even get in touch with them. They throw the phones away with the SIM cards. We went to the north. They told us there's something called election roads. I've never heard it before. I only heard it in 2012.
Okay, so what
they go and scrape the floor with big, tractors and this, heavy-duty thing. As soon as the election finishes, then all the equipment disappears.
But they still win. So my question here is this: what are your chances for this election?
I'm going to win.
Really?
Yes. What is there not to win? What is there not? Why should they win and not me? No, answer the question. Why should they win and not me?
The reason I'm asking is, I'm looking at the kind of contestants you're up against. Dr. Zanetto Rawlings.
One is very experienced.
From a political dynasty. Philip Addison. Ninoy Norton as well.
Please.
These are big names. And
they are not big names. There are no big names in politics. Sometimes the media gets it wrong. They are contestants.
Up next, we bring you entertainment with Ms. G. For entertainment, Ms. G is here.
Hello, Israel. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay, so I saw you dancing yesterday. What kind of dance is that? I know you know how to do the kung fu dance.
Again, there wasn't enough space, so I had to be.
Really?
Because if I didn't take it, I was going to shove Graham Smorgan.
That would have been another kung fu style.
Yeah, so I had to just contain myself.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So but I had calls yesterday.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, Israel, when? You have to prove them wrong, because everybody thinks that no, apart from the kung fu, like this dance,
Okay, we're gonna go to a club one of these days.
Hey, but I'm sure you're just going to be a spectator there. You cross your legs and then watch us dance.
I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what I got.
In the confine of this room, you can't do anything. How much more a club?
It's not a dance club.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll go to the club. All right. So, you know, we've been talking about the Actors Guild. John Dumelo has been calling for a new leadership, saying that he thinks that the youth will do better as leaders. Edinate, who has a new movie called Beautiful Ruins, also thinks same, and he's been speaking to us.
I side with John Dumelo 200%. I think we should move, if not even just the Actors Guild, the Producers Guild. I mean, they are young, youthful people who have the energy, the zeal to work. Who is the president of the Actors Guild? I don't know. Do you understand? I think it should be one of the vibrant people, because trust me, if it is John Dumelo, if it is myself, if it is a Prince David, Yvonne Nias, or whoever it is, it will definitely attract the young, vibrant actors. You understand? So that when we go for sponsorship, when we go to government platforms, we won't be taken for granted. The Actors Guild is full of the old people, the veteran actors. Yes, they are.
Is there a problem with that? Do you think you're suffering because it's full of the older folks?
Yes. Okay. I think we need a rejuvenation. I think we need youthful blood in the Actors Guild to work assiduously to making, you know, the life of actors, especially veteran actors, is sad. I think that even the Actors Guild should be producing movie every year. They don't provide nobody job. You understand what I'm saying? So I really feel that we need people who are vibrant, young people, these people we call stars, to go, because when a Van Vika, when myself, when a Prince David, when a John Dumelo goes to a company to talk on behalf of actors, they always see him on the TV. They know him, they know his credibility. I believe you understand.
A film with a huge budget of 80,000 Ghana cedis, and the Ministry of...
All right, so the Actors Guild and their issues, I can't wait to have them, you know, get a new president. Then I'm sure all these will be over.
Hopefully.
All right, so the Ghana DJ Awards is up tomorrow. It's in partnership with Hits 103.9 FM. And ahead of that great event to honor our DJs...
Hold on. Has DJ Black been nominated?
Why not? We have DJ Black, we have
Dusty. I'm thinking that by this time, DJ Black should be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Maybe he will be tomorrow.
Because once DJ Black is in there, it's no contest.
Africa's biggest DJ 2014. Now guess who is coming to he's already in town. Africa's biggest DJ 2015. That's Jimmy Jat from Nigeria.
All right.
And you know, DJ Black and himself have been hanging out with Gladys Osei Radio. Now Jimmy Jat has been talking about technology in this day of disc jockeying.
I think DJs like myself and a whole lot of DJs coming from my own time paved the way for what's going on right now. And, you know, you expect it to always get better, you know, so definitely the opportunities are better right now. There's social media for you to sell yourself to the world, not just your immediate environment. You know, equipment are, you know, more mobile friendly. You know, getting music is a lot cheaper now than it was when I started. You know, because I used to buy vinyl for every song I used to play then. Right now you could just buy digital music files, you know, so, and I mean, traveling is a lot easier, you know, equipment are not as heavy, music collection is not as heavy as it used to be, so it's a good time to DJ right now, and then definitely the future is going to be better. Black! What's up, man? Nice to see you. I'm all right. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Is he competition for you at all? He's always competition. All right, so this is DJ Black, Ghana's best, Africa's best. So now between the two of you, who takes $50,000? 2014 African best, 2015 African best.
He's a bigger man, so...
Yeah, he's a big man. Okay, so there is this debate, DJ Black. He says that he takes only $50,000. No, pretend you're not hearing. Pretend you're not hearing me. You're feeding him. Okay, so how much do you play? Because he says he. Okay, let me say he says. How much do you play? You charge for a show?
Coded. I must say it depends.
Okay.
There are some shows that we'll do for charity. Okay. There are some shows that we'll charge, and also always depends on our work schedule. So maybe he could be in for an hour, and he could say, okay, maybe I want to do it for free.
Between the two of you, it's competition. Yes, who is best?
Just a good DJ, wonderful DJ.
Yeah.
You know, you do your thing. We just make people happy everywhere. Everywhere Black's been to, you know, to handle the music, it's been great. Okay. Everywhere I've gone to handle the music, it's been great.
So the two DJs, 2014 Africa's Best and 2015 Africa's Best, and two of them will be at the Ghana DJs Awards.
But seriously, like I keep on saying, I mean, DJ Black, seriously, he shouldn't be taking part in some of these contests because it's a no contest.
Oh,
yeah, DJ Black,
you know.
Plus, you know, DJ Black is picking up masters tomorrow.
Exactly, he is picking up a master.
So, how many DJs do you know have masters degree?
You know. So DJ Black is a big deal for us here at Multimedia and for Ghana as well. To have Reggie Rockstone mention your name in his song, it's not a joke at all, you know. Anyway, so let's talk about surprises. Last year, you got a surprise, Ketsi Mwa.
Yeah.
On your birthday.
Okay.
Guess who has got a surprise today as well on his birthday?
Oh, it must be Nana Nsakwa.
Nana Nsakwa was surprised by Nana Yeri Awodanswa.
Happy birthday! You can see the cake.
Surprise! I'm so glad I got him off guard because, yes, we've been together from home. We left home together. I managed to get him back home. I managed to prevent him from coming to my office before coming for the show. And because the cake and the pizza, everything was delivered to me just this afternoon. And I'm glad I caught him off guard.
Today is a special day. Right. What's happening this evening?
I always say that Nana is very awesome. I mean, he makes me happy every day. He makes me laugh every day. So I thought that on his birthday, I have to do something extraordinarily crazy. Today we'll pray and thank God.
The Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. And a happy birthday. Hooray to the Royals. The cake has been cut. Woo!
Okay, so she's trying to tell us that what they're going to pray tonight.
Yes, the prayers tonight.
But see what they even started in the studio.
No, but you don't know what kind of prayers they're going to have.
Well, I wish you a good night.
You want me to ask you what you did on your day? Did you pray?
Well, you didn't see me kiss anybody in the studio.
Okay.
So yeah, I went home and slept.
You slept. Thank God. Thank God. But, you know, Rude Boy, member of P Square, Paul, of course, has been talking to MTV Base about the situation in the camp of P Square and also about his new record label called Rude Boy Record Labels and some more. All right, so because Jimmy Jat is from Nigeria, we asked him about the boys because he played an influential role in their first major video. And he says that, of course, it is not official that they have broken up, but it's okay for, you know, Rude Boy, which is Paul, to start something on his own. But when they have to come together, of course, they will. So that's it for Entertainment Israel.
All right, thank you very much. And before you go, I think I should pass on this message to you. There are quite a number of people who watch you.
Okay.
Who watch this segment because of you.
Oh.
Yeah, I know that the chaplain at Accra Academy actually stops everything, including prayers, just to watch you.
I'll come for prayers.
And then I also know Cyril Evans Chenry, who also gets to watch you. And then my own friend Sandra Kambasi. I mean, you got fans out there.
Oh, thank you for the love. Oh.
Loads of fans.
I'm feeling like...
Very soon, we have to blow a whistle to call you. That's it for entertainment. We have sports coming up next. Right, so another dude with a lot of fans out there, Gary Al Smith, he's here to give us the sports.
Hello, Israel.
Yeah, hi, Gary. It's true, you got a lot of fans.
Hopefully.
Oh, yeah, you do. Right, what's coming up in sports?
So there's some news from the GFA. There's news on the Europa League, which is going on. There's Manchester United. I don't know. Okay, you're a Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, we are. That's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll check out all those details. Some NBA do a bit of this and that as well.
Okay, you take it away, Nick.
Right. So thank you for joining me on the Sport on Primarily. I'm Gary Al Smith. Thursday football is here. And right, without much ado, let's check out the fixtures. You see a 2 and a 1 here. In the round of 16, already Champions League round of 16 is done. We have the 8 teams. Bayer Leverkusen 0-0 with Villarreal at the moment. Sparta Prague done and dusted with beating Lazio 3-0. Valencia full-time also have beaten Athletic Bilbao and Valencia go through. Anderlecht 0-0. Shakhtar Donetsk. Shakhtar were leading 3-1 on aggregates from the first leg. Braga 1-0 Fenerbahce. So this is now 1-1 on aggregate. Man United 0-0 Liverpool. And this is it. This is the live feed of that one. Liverpool already leading by 2-0 from winning by that score in Anfield. Back to the score, Sevilla 0-0 with Basel, and Tottenham Hotspur, who were behind against Borussia Dortmund, are playing 0-0 as it stands. Dortmund go through, and also in terms of Sevilla and Basel, if it stays like this, they'll go on to extra time. Away from the UEFA Champions League, but on the GFA, we understand that the Football Association are on the verge of acquiring accommodation for Avram Grant. So where has he been living all this while? You guessed it, in a hotel. George Freya speaks to us.
Yes, when you see accommodation, we have sat down as an FA and we've done the maths. And we think that currently, remember that by this weekend, most of the boys are reporting from their various bases. Once they arrive, the coach is supposed to move with the players to the hotel. He has to live with the same hotel with them. So in actual fact, in a whole year, you might not have the coach staying like 6 months in accommodation if you hire an accommodation. To be very honest with you, we even had an accommodation fully furnished. But I'm saying that we've done the maths and we realize that currently moving, yes, but what the FA is trying to do is that we are acquiring an accommodation. We are not renting, because renting, we've realized that it's very expensive. Well, the one we got, we're paying close to $4,500. And remember, when you put him there, you need to give him security, you need to give him shelf and all that, and you end up paying about $5,000. So why don't you use that money to pay for a mortgage and own the house? You understand? So this is the strategy we've adopted.
George Freya speaking there. Obviously, it's going to raise another kerfuffle or debate again. Still with Ghana football, and governments must provide financial support to clubs who play in African football competitions. That's according to former GFA boss Leporua MND Jaula. As you would know, Ghanaian clubs have almost every year for the past 10 or so been unable to qualify for the next stage of African club competitions. The latest has been Hash Gold this year, who, as representatives of Ghana in the Champions League, were bundled out. Mediama are also currently behind in their game after being beaten by Al Ittihad Libya, and they will have to claw back in the second leg. Maybe the solution is for the central government to put money for the clubs.
Clubs in Ghana do everything right, but governments don't do anything right for the clubs. I say it all the time, and when I get the opportunity, I want to say it again. We don't get sponsorship of any quality. That is the first headache. And we expect money to come from government budgets. Governments bring next to nothing. In most countries of Africa, governments will bring in money at least to support clubs that go to Africa by paying for the airlines, by paying for hotels of incoming clubs, and so on. So by so doing, the government's free club money so that they can motivate the players. Football is all about motivation. How do you pump the adrenaline in players to get them to play and deliver the goods? To get him to put a foot where he would not have put a foot in. To assure him that if his foot gets broken, somebody is going to insure it and give him something for it. We're not putting money in the game. And that is what is killing our game. So we've got to find money. The governments must vote money perpetually to look after clubs that qualify into Africa. The day we get that done, you will see miracles coming out of Ghana.
You will see miracles coming out of Ghana. One team that have also not been paid all their monies after they won gold at the All-Africa Games is the Black Queens. But according to them, they are really focused on their African qualifiers. As you know, a week from today, the Black Stars will be playing in their qualifiers against Mozambique in the doubleheader, and the Black Queens will also be in action as they aim to qualify for major competitions. Let's now hear from Mercy Miles, the captain of the senior national female team.
So far, so good. We are waiting for something. We know it will come. Our leaders are working hard for us because that is what we depend on entirely. You know, in order to have a sound mind on the field of play, it's very necessary. But so far, it's been good. Training has been successful, and we are yet to play some friendly matches to test what we've been doing so far. So we're going to leave no stone unturned. We are not even going to sit down and think between the two, Tunisia and Burkina, who is the weakest to play. No, we are taking the both team to be very good and training very hard. So the outcome, we don't care. Just what is ahead of us is what we are looking at.
She was speaking after Ghana was drawn in a group, like she intimated, with Burkina Faso and Tunisia as they seek to qualify for the next major competitions. Speaking of professionalism and payment of players on time in Ghana football, there's a book that has been written. The name Major Yao Larson may ring a bell to you, especially if you are a fan of Asante Kotoko. The retired Major has launched a book on how Ghana can best use its practices of the last 50 years or so to launch forward into the next few years. According to his book, Ghana has lagged behind in many areas, but there is hope.
I've been in this game for 35 years, and I wanted to share what I've seen in terms of challenges and in terms of measures that are going on in other countries, which can help us. The first thing is you have to go through the book. I discussed where we came from. Schools were participating in sports. But do you see any serious football activities in the schools? I talked about leadership. You must be a member of, you should give hope to your team, to your clubs, to your nation, that sort of thing. I also mentioned about that you can't deceive God. It is what you sow that you get your results out of it. You know, so it's a very comprehensive game plan to an awareness, comparative analysis of the other countries, which I believe will help us. That is all. I've been there. I've been in the game. I've been in the FA. I've been at the GACA. I've been at the Black Star Amendment Committee. I've served in the emergency committee before, and so I've got a load of ideas.
In international sport, the BNP Paribas Open is still ongoing, and Richard Gasquet and David Goffin are, thankfully for their fans, through to the next round.